you said, I did not kill my sister. Okay. After that,
Hi, Nancy. At this time, you're under arrest under suspicion of murder. The allegation is that you've murdered your sister Jennifer Abbott on the 10th of June this year, okay?
Nancy Pexton, please stand. I impose on you a sentence of life imprisonment. I fix the minimum term which you will serve in custody at 22 years. Time comes for you to stand. I will ask you to do so. Nancy Pexton, on the 29th of April 2026, the jury found you guilty of the murder of your sister, Jennifer Abbott. She was 69 years old when she died. She lived alone, and due to her multiple health issues, she was frail and vulnerable. Jennifer Abbott was a much-loved mother, grandmother, aunt, and neighbour. Not only did you kill her in a brutal and vicious attack, but you have brought profound grief and misery to her family and friends. Her son, in his moving impact statement, described his mother as being kind and as being his hero and role model. The killing. On the day of the killing, the 10th of June 2025, you, Nancy Pexton, went to your sister's home and attacked her multiple times with a knife. You inflicted 10 knife wounds, 7 stab wounds, and 3 slash wounds. The expert pathologist, Dr. Fegan Earle, carried out the post-mortem. He found that there were 2 fatal knife wounds, each of which would have been sufficient of itself to cause death. One was a deep slit to your sister's throat that caused severe internal damage. The other was a deep stab wound to her neck. The text messages shown to the jury demonstrated the volatile and difficult relationship you had with Jennifer Abbott. Some of your messages revealed deep animosity and anger towards her. One example of this is a note written by you before the autumn of 2024, which said, "I am planning to kill my sister, whom I love, but she destroyed my life with her mouth. Loose lips can sink ships, and she sunk my ship. I have no friends anymore, 'cause of her, my evil sister, still trying to take what's left of my miserable life." You also sent messages to your sister which demonstrated your affection for her. Having considered all the evidence, including the evidence at the trial from Brad Carston, Jennifer Abbott's son, I cannot be sure that your intention to kill your sister was premeditated. But, having regard to the ferocity of the attack, the number of knife wounds inflicted, the nature of those wounds, their location, and the seriousness of each of them, I am sure that once the attack started, it was your intention to kill her. Your actions and your conduct after the killing demonstrate not only an absence of remorse, but also a deliberate and callous attitude towards what you had done. Before leaving the flat, you positioned your sister's almost naked body on the sofa and covered it with a blanket. Before or after that, you cut off a long piece of gaffer tape from a roll, which you said in one of your witness statements to the police was in the flat. You placed the tape over your sister's mouth. This was a deliberate act of degradation. It was callous, demeaning, and cruel. This action, taken alone, demonstrates the depth of your animosity and hostility towards your sister on the day of the killing. Also, before leaving the flat, you took your sister's most prized possession, the Rolex watch given to her by her only child, Brad, in gratitude for the sacrifices she had made for him. That Rolex watch remained with you in your bag until the police found it. The sentence. For the offence of murder, the law requires me to impose a sentence of life imprisonment. I must decide the minimum term which you will serve in custody before you can apply to the parole board for release. It is important that you and everyone concerned with this case understands what a minimum term means. It is not the date upon which you will be released. It is the minimum time which you will spend in custody before your case can be considered by the parole board. It will then be for the parole board to say whether and when you will be released. If they do not direct your release, you will remain in custody. If you are released, you will be subject to licence, and this will remain the case for the rest of your life. If for any reason your licence were to be revoked, you would be recalled to prison to continue to serve your life sentence in custody. In this case, because I cannot be sure that you took the knife to the scene, the law says the starting point is a minimum term of 15 years. I do not consider that this was a murder done for gain, but I am sure that you took the watch because it was valuable and because you were jealous of your sister's greater financial security. I cannot be sure that you killed your sister in order to steal her Rolex watch, rather than taking the watch as an afterthought. I must consider whether the starting point for sentence should be increased or reduced. So I have to consider all of the aggravating and mitigating factors. The aggravating factors are very significant. Your sister was 69 years old and was not in good health, which made her vulnerable. You killed your sister in her home, a place where she should have felt safe and was entitled to feel safe. You put masking tape over your sister's mouth, and this was an intentional act of degradation. Although I cannot be sure that you brought the knife to the scene, I can be sure that after the killing, you disposed of the knife. You did not just stab her once. You subjected your sister to repeated stabbing and slashing with a focus on her neck, both front and back. You slit her throat. You stabbed deeply into her lower left side of her neck, puncturing her lung. This was a sustained and excessively violent assault with a knife on a vulnerable woman in her own home. Your sister must have experienced fear and physical suffering before she died. You left your sister in her flat, either dead or dying, and as a result, her body was not discovered for over 72 hours, during which time it had begun to decompose. I am sure that you took steps to conceal your responsibility for what you had done. You attempted to clean up your sister's flat. You lied to the police. You suggested to the police that your sister must have been robbed if she was without the Rolex watch. You instructed your daughter to wash your clothes. Unbeknown to your daughter, they were the clothes that you were wearing when you killed your sister. They were not washed, and they were found to have your sister's blood on them. The mitigating factors are, according to the records, you were born on the 10th of April, 1956, so you are now 70 years old. It is entirely possible that you will never be released from prison. You have no previous convictions. I cannot be sure that your actions were premeditated. You have experienced misfortune in your life, and you were homeless at the time of the murder. You had mental health issues and were suffering from depression at the time of the killing, and shortly after the killing, you took an overdose. Nancy Pexton, please stand. I impose on you a sentence of life imprisonment. I fix the minimum term which you will serve in custody at 22 years, less the time which you have spent in custody on remand. I am told that you have spent 315 days in custody on remand. So, the minimum term will be 21 years and 50 days. If the statutory surcharge applies, the order can be drawn up accordingly.